Hello everyone,
Yay.
what's up? Welcome to the Artist Coaching Podcast with a very special guest today, Merow.
Hello.
Hey.
Let's go.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Yeah, nice of you to take the time to be here. We appreciate it.
Of course.
And how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm having a bit of a Miami FOMO, but yeah, I'm in the studio right now, so that's fine.
Is Miami
I
this
actually
week?
totally forgot about Miami.
Me
I
too.
just came off the phone with somebody, and she said to me, "Yeah, I'm just off to the airport going to Miami." I'm like, "Ooh, damn.
Forgot that.
Ooh.
I
Yeah.
have the same FOMO. It's like, oh, you see those posts, you don't think about it, and then people start posting, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
the weather there so warm, and
exactly.
although just then Milo
True.
posted, and it was rainy there, or like
Oh,
gray.
really?
Yeah, like
So-
storming, like last
Yeah.
year.
Oh
That's
yeah."
crazy.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been there before at Ultra?
Never. No,
Okay.
I've been watching like every year since I was like 16.
Mm.
I think on the live streams and everything. We used to do like watch parties at home.
Oh yeah, me too. Like evening
So,
sessions with friends and drinks and
Exactly, and like guessing IDs and stuff like that.
yeah.
The real nerd stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never been there, so I really want to go. I keep saying next year every time, but yeah, maybe next year this time.
Maybe next year. Yeah, exactly. We'll clip this and maybe next year we'll have like a revanche,
But
right?
it's always a thing, and because Ultra, to be honest, I'm also looking forward to all the sets and hearing them and see what everybody's been up to. Those are the sets that everybody works towards, and where a lot of new stuff is being premiered.
Yep.
And I'm really curious what everybody comes up with. I already checked out some of the Tomorrowland Winter sets, and I saw a few surprises there. And I'm really curious what Ultra
surprises
will bring.
as in music choices or artists.
Yeah.
What were you surprised by?
Amelie Lens playing bass checkers, guys.
Hey,
Hey.
you've crossed into the credible scene.
Let's go.
Cross culture.
credible now, man.
Let's go. You're credible again.
No, but it was not only her. I actually liked Afrojack a lot. He had some cool tribal influences in there, which really surprised me. Loved Armin's sets as well. Think he has found a very good niche between trance and let's call it the new wave techno sound. And
like the
was very happy.
Morton
But also
kind of
Amelie
sound,
Lens,
right?
besides playing bass checkers, I really liked her set really much. She knows the transitions, that game. She owns it completely. I think
Okay,
she's
okay.
one of
Nice.
the best.
Is she
Okay.
playing Ultra?
Sick.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
Do you
I'm
know
always
Merow?
looking forward to
Yeah.
Hartwell playing at Ultra. He's
Is he playing
Hartwell
this
at
year?
Ultra is one of the magic things happening there. And
Okay.
yeah, for the rest, Martin Garrix, of course.
That's your so somebody in chat right now says, "Hey, it's Martin's daughter." That's probably not the case, but yeah. Let's
It's getting
let's
weird, guys.
Hey.
let's
yeah,
unpack.
well,
Let's unpack
a-
that.
it's a guy
Interesting.
called Ham and Cheese Toasty, so you can't really expect much from
Yeah,
a
exactly. yeah.
username like that. but,
Nice.
Anyway, let's unpack that because let's get people introduced to you if they might not know you right now.
Yes.
Like, who's Merow?
Yeah, so my name is Merow. My real name is Megan. I'm 22 years old. I make bass house, all kinds of bass music, drum and bass as well, tech house. I've been signed to Stand Records for a year now. And yeah, I've been doing pretty crazy shows last year and working on doing more shows this year as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm just working on a lot of music right now in the studio as well. And also hyped for the Ultra live stream to check all the new music and IDs and stuff.
How long
do
have
you
you
know
been in?
anybody's going to play your music? Do you already know? Or
I'm not sure yet. I sent it out
Okay.
to a few artists, like Seth, of course, to Martin.
yeah,
But it's always a surprise. I feel like
Yeah.
if
oh,
someone's
that's
gonna play
extra
it,
exciting.
yeah.
That's
So
cool.
Yeah.
And they then
we're gonna
play it.
see. But it's
How-
always
how-
fun to check.
How long have you been in into the music? As in, when did you start? At which age?
I think I started DJing first, like 10, 11 years ago.
Hmm.
And then
That's long.
yeah, it's been a while. I started with like following DJ lessons and stuff like that. And then I think 7 or 8 years ago, I started producing because I really wanted to be able to play my own tracks. And I kind of fell in love with that even more. Just being in not the studio, like at my house, just my bedroom studio, I guess.
Yeah.
Working on music that was sounding shit, of course, in the beginning. But just practicing and getting inspired by a lot of different genres and all that. So
Huh.
yeah, it's been a while.
And where did the passion came from? As in, why did you ever decided to start DJing?
I think it was Hardwell actually. He was doing for one of his albums. I think it was United We Are. He was doing an all ages show.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
in the Ziggo Dome, I remember.
Yeah, I went there with my mom, and I was like, "Whoa, this is
Oh
crazy."
really? That's
So, yeah.
so cool
That's
because
so cool that drew you into
Exactly.
making EDM or making music. That's a really cool story, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
just I don't know. It was just the energy, and next to that, I was always watching the ultra live streams already. And I was just like, whoa, this energy from so many people listening to someone's music, that's just crazy. So yeah, that really inspired me to start following DJ lessons at first,
Hmm.
and then make music as well.
And did you start playing locally, or how did your career kind of developed over the years?
Yeah, I joined like a lot of DJ contests, like every DJ contest I could find. I went there, and went to like local bars with my little DJ set. I think
you took your DJ
it was
set.
like, yeah, it was like a little DJ controller that
Oh,
you
yeah.
still need your laptop with.
Nice.
Just went to bars or anything, birthday parties from people from school, whatever, anything.
That's the full
Um,
grind. I
yeah,
love
just
it. Yeah.
whatever
Good
I
grind.
could do to play somewhere, and like, just make some hours playing for people instead of just in your room for nobody, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
it's so,
actually
it's so
really
cool.
good,
When did you feel that you were like, hey, this I can do more with this, or hey, this is gonna be my job, or were you always focused on this is what I want to do, or was it there a point where you were like, hey, I can do this, or how did that switch happen?
I mean, I really wanted to go to the Herman Brood Academy when I was still in high school. And I guess I was like every kid, just looking for what do we want to do. And I was always like pretty excited about doing things on my computer, like editing or designing and stuff like that. So yeah, I was like, where do I want to go after high school? And then I checked out the Herman Brood Academy. I really loved it. It was amazing. And of course, Martin Garrix went there as well. So I remember that was a big thing
Yeah.
for everybody that wanted to go there.
It was the biggest marketing tool they ever got at that school.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
still is. I think it still,
It still
is.
is. Yeah, true.
So yeah, I applied there, and the first time I didn't even get accepted. So I went to another
wow.
school, and then I tried again for the second time because I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna let this go so easily. And the second time I got accepted, and at that point I was like, okay, maybe I can really like go do this full time and see whatever comes out of these 3 years at school, while I have the freedom to work on music like every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like actually I remember the last week I graduated, I got signed to STEM, so that was actually crazy timing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then everything started to like yeah go go a
Yeah,
bit
exactly.
fast,
What
and now we're
Hey,
here.
yeah, was it? Did you also enrolled in the Stamped Academy or something like that? I'm not sure what it was anymore.
Yeah, it was together with JBL and with Stamped,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think Martin as well, and they were doing like this thing called the JBL Music Academy. I saw that and I was like, wow, you can go to the STEM studios for a whole week with 40 people from all around the world to make music and to give feedback and follow like classes and everything.
Hmm.
So I applied for that, and I think there was like 2,000 applications for it, which was already crazy. So I don't know. I was just like, I'm gonna record the video, and we're gonna see what will happen. And then I got an email. I remember in the morning, and I thought it was a scam email because it was like it was an email with just one photo,
A
and in the
photo.
photo was all the info. I was
Oh,
like, sure,
Probably
sure,
Watson made it.
sure.
amateurs.
But then, yeah, I connected with other people that got the same email, and we were like, okay, maybe it's not a
Sick.
scam.
Yeah.
Nice.
Big scam.
Yeah, big scam.
Yeah.
And then, we went to the STEM studios for the first time. I've never been in such a crazy studio, so I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I
but it's
was,
pretty cool. And that's how you got into contact with Stamped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you've really proven yourself. I like the way I like the way of that you took. I mean, standing out firstly in between 2,000 other contenders, and then you have 40 left, and I don't think they're all signed to Stamp now. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
And
Thank
also
you.
shows that all those things, if it's even if it's a remix contest or just whatever, something you can stand out with, it's always a good choice to do. If it's not only for the
sure.
experience, you never know
Yeah.
what you're going to get. I mean, look at you now, signed to Stamped, almost a year, and it's pretty big.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
I
also,
really,
like,
I'm really
sorry.
impressed by. I'm impressed by that you got rejected by the academy, and you just tried again. That takes like a huge thing as well because you put a lot of effort into it, then you get rejected, and I think that's what in the beginning of my career was very difficult dealing with the rejection. So that is for
Yeah.
me like a huge thing where you instantly show to them as well,
Resilience,
like
man.
your
It's
resilience.
one of the main indicators of success, right?
Was
Yeah.
it
Resilience.
hard for you to deal with that no, or did it fuel you to kind of go harder?
I mean, I remember getting a phone call as well from the coordinator of the school, and he was like explaining to me why I was not accepted yet. So that really helped me to kind of focus on the points that I needed to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of motivated me more. And I mean, of course, as you all know, like whenever you send demos to labels or whatever, most of the time I got rejected. I used to send demos like every week, and all would be like, "Oh, this is not for us. This is not fitting for our label," or just rejected. So I feel like every step you take towards something, even if it's rejection at first, you will still get closer because you keep trying.
Mm-hmm. It's a good mindset.
Yeah, and
This was the TikTok post, guys.
Yeah, I
We're
just
there.
saw the
Yeah.
clip before me. Like we can cut it
This
now.
is
Like we're
wisdom.
done. This is
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
put some emotional music under it.
Yeah,
Motivational music.
The
But that is-
content
that is-
creator is listening, so
I think
he'll.
that's the
No,
most.
but it's true.
It's one of the most
Yeah.
important mindsets if you're starting out, but
Yeah.
it's also the most difficult one. It's like
Not
hearing
even
no
when
is
you're
such
starting
a-
out. We
Yeah.
get
It
so
still is,
many
right?
no's still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
I don't think it will ever. It changes. You just keep like getting better, but still have to deal with rejection, I guess.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
get better
it's
at
what
it.
Ralph said. Like it doesn't matter how big you get. Like you will have to keep getting used to no's. As in, even when you're big, you'll still get no's. So you have to kind of build a way to balance that out and to learn how to deal with that.
You can
The
compare this to
frustration
golf.
fuels me.
It took us 40 minutes to get to golf. That's a new record.
So, think about
40
it.
minutes?
Think
Or
about
14, yeah.
Tiger Woods, biggest golfer ever, arguably. He won a lot, but he also didn't win a lot of tournaments. And it's
Yeah,
like
true.
it's people don't see that, but dealing with that, and that's also it's exactly the same for a music career. It's exactly like golf. You can just one on one.
There's also this clip
That's
from
true.
I think it's Nadal or Federer, I don't know who, like one of those two guys, where he gives a speech about this. As in, he also says like, yes, I've won, I don't know, 100 something matches, but what most people forget is that I also lost 300 of them. As in, you see the highs, but most people forget about all the lost matches. So it's good to take that into consideration.
Thanks, Joey.
That's
Yeah,
by the way
just-
tennis. That's tennis. That's also relatable.
Yeah, I'm just trying to diversify, like something
Dude,
else,
it's
right?
not only golf.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, what was the thing for you, Merow, to what was the hardest thing you had to deal with until now in your career?
Um, that's a good question. I feel like social media was something that I was really struggling with in the beginning, especially like I don't know, when you're new to a label or something, and get like a big audience out of nowhere. Of course, there's gonna be some negative comments and stuff like that. And I remember that was the first time that I was like getting quite a lot of negative comments in the beginning because people were like, "Who is this girl that's gonna sign to this big label with her bass house music?" So yeah, that was something that I was really struggling with in the beginning to like, yeah, focus more on the positive comments, because in the end, I thought it was a lot of negative comments, but now if I look back, it was maybe 20 negative comments and like 100 positive ones.
Yeah.
So I feel like you focus on the negative stuff, yeah, faster than seeing the positive things.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that I really struggled with, but now I'm getting like more used to it, I guess, and focus more on like the positive things,
Yeah.
especially on social media.
And
Yeah,
did
you
you
should.
and did you struggle
Nice.
to create content and stuff? Like, was that hard for you?
Yeah, in the beginning I was like, this is awkward to film these little reels, just sitting and listening to your track.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I kind of found ways to make it more fun. Also, when it comes to editing and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a thing that I always keep in mind. Like as long as I think it's fun and I'm not like cringed out or something,
Mm-hmm.
then it's okay to to post it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And do you create everything by yourself, as in the editing and the recording and everything?
yeah. Most of the time I do it myself, like
Yeah.
captions and all that. It's quite kind of hard. I don't know, especially with like how social media is these days. Everything's going so fast with algorithms and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes I have no clue what I'm doing, but I guess that's the best way to
Nobody does. That's the
exactly.
thing. You just do
That's
you
yeah.
and
Yeah.
just go with it. And yeah, I like to think the message that you want to send out. Yeah, how can I send it out and try your
I
best?
think the fact that you make sure that you like it is the most important thing there, and so then hopefully the things that won't s- go as well on socials, you still liked making it, so you can just go on to the next one with a very positive feeling. Because if you hate making it and then it doesn't perform well, that would be wouldn't be good. But this is
Yeah.
yeah, this is the best way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And like as you mentioned, like not feeling cringed out about it. Is there a way how you learned yourself to create stuff that doesn't make you cringe? As in, how did you make it feel authentic?
Um I mean, I guess I just go and try out stuff. I just got a camera actually instead of my phone, which makes it more fun for me to also like test out angles and what the camera can do and all that. But I feel like it's just when you are recording something and in that moment, if you're like, okay, this is cringe, then it's the perfect timing to say, okay, let's not do it like this.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's find a
exactly.
different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to
Did
know.
you have that with performing? Because I can imagine I mean, you were DJing already for a long time, but going to the bigger stages happened quite fast. I'd
Yeah.
imagine. Did you feel also there a little bit maybe awkward or cringe, or because
Had to get
with
used.
me, I remember it was like, ooh, I'm on a big stage now, and I felt awkward. So I wonder how you dealt with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was not really cringe or something, but it was more it's a totally different way of performing, I feel like. Because all of a sudden there was a microphone and there was people knowing your music and wanting to
Mm.
hear new ideas and singing along with melodies that are from you. So I remember the first time I played, I think it was during ADE at Stamp Night. people started singing my melodies. I was like, whoa,
Like,
what's
huh?
going on?
So
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, I feel like at that point I started to look at doing like performing differently, but like I enjoy it way more now because I remember people telling me, "Oh, maybe you can try to say some stuff in the microphone and do more like when it comes to actually performing, not just DJing."
Mhm.
And I remember the first time I was like so awkward. I didn't know what to say. I had the microphone. I was like,
eh.
"Shit, what do I say?" But yeah, I
Put your
guess it
fucking
just
hands up. Works
There's a
all the time.
there's a golden rule. There's a
3,
golden rule.
2, 1, let's go.
There's a
exactly.
there's a golden rule for this. You can say whatever you want, gibberish, but it just has to end in noise. So you go like noise, and everybody be like,
Yeah.
actually works.
That's interesting that
I'ma
you
try
say
that.
like DJing and entertaining, right? Like you kind of had to evolve from just DJing into becoming an entertainer. Like
Yeah.
what is the main difference? Is that just the microphone, or is there anything else that you added to the whole thing?
I feel like it's the whole kind of way you look at it because when I used to just play as a DJ, nobody knew Merow. They were just like, "Oh, it's fun." I was just playing whatever I felt like people would sing to, like hits and all around popular stuff. And when you're actually performing as an artist that people want to like hear your music, I feel like you think way more about what kind of ideas you're gonna play, like unreleased stuff, tracks that people want to hear from you, yeah, stuff like that as well. Not just the microphone, of course, but the whole
Yeah.
Plus, they're
way.
constantly looking at you now. Before, and they would just turn their backs to you
Yeah.
and be
Be
about just
background music.
dancing.
Yeah,
It's actually less about the music now than it
Yeah.
was before, I can imagine.
yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah, it's totally different, but I mean I love it way more than just playing at a local bar. Random stuff because now whenever I go and play a gig, I get super excited because then before I was like, oh, I'm working on this track, I can't wait to try it out and see what
Mm.
people will like react to and stuff like that. So it's definitely way more fun. I feel like to have that.
Yeah,
And
and
would
now
you
there's also actually a little bit of a move going that there's less time on the mic than before. So
what do
it's
you
also
mean?
good.
Yeah, that's a credible thing we don't understand, Joey.
No, that's for the
It's
deeper
like
We just keep
underground guys.
screaming.
Bass Checkers is now in the credible realm, so it's like no
We're
mic
credible
time.
right
It's
now. Yeah,
cool.
what am I doing here with you
Yeah.
guys? Come on,
Like
Merow.
what
We
with
do our
commercial
own
dogs,
podcast.
like exactly. Like where's your
Where
black
does the
hoodie?
name
Like
Merow come from, by the way?
My artist name. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't really have a crazy story. I
Oh.
remember I was like I was 13 and I was just going on this site with fonts, logo
Oh, yeah.
fonts,
hmm.
and I was like, okay, my name is Megan. I'm gonna use the first two letters, and then I'm just gonna see which fonts are cool.
Ah.
And
Oh,
then
you
I
have the
came with
M,
like
yeah.
I came with Merow, and then I was like without the W. I was like, could be cool to like have the M, but like upside down, and
Yeah,
then
that's actually cool.
Ah,
You
yeah.
could do like layback look, you just like this, but you can
Like
do like an M
this.
and a W, but you're gonna be like
exactly.
this.
Like
Let's go,
hey,
everybody! Let's go!
you should make a thing out of it.
I will,
Yeah.
I will keep that in
No,
mind. Thanks.
don't.
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, I also noticed on your Instagram that recently, I think even a couple of days, weeks ago, you did a performance in a snack bar.
I did.
How?
Yeah, I did a pop-up party.
Oh, pop-up party! Like that's a whole new thing at the moment, right? Like DJs throwing pop-up parties.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind it? As in, was it a marketing tool, or what was the reason why you did it?
Well, I remember last year I did it as well, but I did it at my old school.
Mm.
So we were just like inside doing a little boiler room, and I just
Oh, that's
I think it
cool.
was like a week before I just put it on online. Like, if you want to come, just let me know and fill in this form, and then we will invite you. But after that, because there was like 30 people there, and the set was really cool, I recorded everything, and I wanted to do that again, but like at like some super random location.
Yeah.
Anything like it could be a bakery or like a restaurant. But then I remember the club where I did my event for ADE, there was this really small FOMO next to it,
Yeah.
and there could be like 20 or 30 people in there. I was like, that's the
the
perfect
spot.
That's
location.
it. Yeah. Doesn't
Let's
get
do
more
it.
Dutch as well. Like
People
like
listening-
the
Doesn't
tech
get any
meter.
more Dutch than a snack
I think-
wall. It's
Right?
insane.
Yeah.
People
Exactly.
listening don't even know how crazy this is. It's like it's not even a restaurant. It's like a very tiny space with a wall with little doors in there with glass, and there's like snacks, fried
Yeah.
snacks in there,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and that's
Frikandels, croquettes,
Frikandels.
frikandellen, croquettes.
cheese soufflés.
But it's like
Cheese place.
it's crazy
amazing.
it's crazy to then imagine like, oh, what if we did a set there? But then you actually did it, and I saw it was like filled, like it was crazy full as well.
Yeah,
Looked
it looked
cool.
amazing. Like I was just
Yeah.
watching your Instagram. I was like,
Yeah.
this is a vibe, right? Like just a couple.
Thanks.
It's like 20, 30 people as you mentioned, but
Yeah.
it just looks fun. And it just made me think as in like this is a really great way of getting exposure and like creating content and probably promoting your song as well, right?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, I really love the idea.
The only thing I
And to
missed,
get-
I never heard you say before the drop, everybody put your frikandels up. Here we go. From the left to the right.
Also, do you get free snacks from those walls for life now, or?
Now I paid for like 1 hour free snacks for everybody.
Oh, nice.
Wow!
Dude.
I was like, sure. And then
Let's go.
I did that, and I saw my manager. He was like emptying the walls like during my set.
Nice.
I was enjoying it.
Where's
Yeah,
your
nice.
manager?
Is he's in the chat?
I think he's in the chat. Charles.
Yeah, I saw him in the chat.
Ah.
He was mentioning golf, so I blocked him. Yeah. Hey, by the way, guys, just a quick intercourse because I didn't even know this was possible, but I guess I turned this on. People are actually donating money in the chat.
No way.
Yeah, we have 2 people donating money on the YouTube chat. Like I didn't even know it was
It's-
possible.
We
Oh,
can
it's
buy
like-
frikandels now.
We
It's
have
like, hey,
Mellow and
let's
go.
Dramatic and Jamie Strive donating. Thank you very much, guys. Like, honestly, the first, it says super chat. The first
Awesome.
super chats. Nice. So that's the
That's
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
That is
Anyway.
actually
Makes
pretty
us
cool.
humble.
Yeah.
Guys, we want to urge you. You don't have to spend your money with us. We love you.
No.
You just hang out here. It's very welcome. But we are looking for a big sponsor. So if you know some companies that would love to sponsor us, or you work for a company, just let
Free
us know.
snacks, everything.
No, I'm just happy if you share my music. I'm such a modest guy.
Same.
He's so underground.
Oh, also,
Uh,
everybody, is it
let's-
already time to chill or?
No, not yet.
No.
I think this is a nice moment to kind of go into the. Just a second.
We don't have a clip of the week this week.
We can do that, but we let's just first things first.
Community questions.
As always, we have community questions coming in into our Discord server. So if you're not part of that community server yet, make sure to go into the description of this video or the podcast episode that you're watching or listening to. There's a link there that leads to this Discord where you can send in questions every week and talk with like-minded artists during the week. Let's start off with, let's see. Let's do it from Marin. A question from Merow. From Marin. Don't confuse that.
Nice.
How long did it take her to find her sound?
Good question.
Ooh.
Would
be
you even
honest-
say that you have a sound right now? Like, are you already comfortable
Bass house,
saying
right?
that?
I mean, yeah, bass house, but I feel
Mhm.
like for every producer, you're always like evolving your sound. I think
Mm-hmm.
with every track you make. But I can definitely say that whenever I make a track, that people, not even me that like says this, but I feel like whenever people are like, "Oh, this sounds like Merow," I feel like at that point you have your kind of sound.
Do you
so yeah.
know what that is? Like, do you know when people say it sounds like Merow? Like, what are they referring to?
I guess it's like a combination of bass house with like these pretty big lead sounds, together with some like tech house grooves, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Combination. But other than that, to be honest, I have no clue. I just do whatever I feel like. Um, yeah, sounds right to me and that I'm excited about. And then I'm super happy to hear that people are like, "Oh, that sounds like Merow."
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it's interesting because a lot of artists are really consciously thinking about like, oh, I need to develop this sound, right? Like they're
Yeah,
really actively thinking about it. But I believe that just by doing the thing you want to do, you're already implementing your signature sound in there.
yeah, for
Just by
sure.
making small little decisions, it already sounds different from other people. And it's funny that other people are most likely to recognize it, and you yourself are like, I don't know what's different about it. I just do what I do.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way, right? To make music
Yeah,
without thinking about it too much. Yeah, so it just stays like as creative as possible, I think. And yeah, like you said, like every little decision that you make in like mixing or sound design or whatever, I guess that leads up to the point where they are like, oh yeah, that's your sound because you do it that way.
yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Do you ever work with Mark as well in the STEM studios? Mark Otten?
No, no, I only
Never.
worked with
Oh.
him during the music academy,
Mm.
and that was amazing. And I remember when I went to Herman Brood Academy, he just left, so that was kind of sad as well because yeah, he's a super big inspiration for me.
Hmm.
And I always love like hearing him talk about his experiences and talk about music and all that. So yeah, he's a real legend.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I have a few
Yeah,
clients who go there as well. I'm very happy with what he does. So,
nice.
um, let's see. There's a lot of follow-up questions from Marin. How did she get signed to STEMPD? But we kind of already knew that. Did she try to sign to STEMPD before she attended Martin Garrix Producer Academy? We already know that as well. How did she figure out? Oh yeah. When did she figure out that this music thing could actually turn into a full-time thing?
We covered this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
when
think
she
we
got into
Yeah.
the Herman Brood
Yeah, but is
Academy.
it already a
Herman Brood.
full-time thing for you? Like you're making your money on this at the moment?
Yeah, yeah. Like since last year, I mean, I still live with my parents and stuff like that, but
Mm.
which is amazing. So because yeah, I don't really have um like a rent I need to pay or anything
Yeah.
like that. So I can just like go fully focus on music right now. But yeah, last year it has been crazy with like a lot of shows and stuff like that. So it really gave me a lot of motivation, and it really showed me that if I keep pushing and keep going, that it could actually be possible to do this full time.
Yeah. It's actually a very smart decision, as in, I think you want to stretch that moment for as long as possible to kind of have financial obligations
Yeah,
because you have all the freedom and you can invest in yourself. And yeah, for as long as you have that, just make the best out of it because it's very, yeah, it's a life hack, I would
Yeah,
say.
and if you're touring a lot, then you're paying rent, but you're not home half the time. That's also a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah,
of
exactly.
a
that's
waste.
true. Yeah, I'm super grateful that I can like still stay with my parents, and they're always super supportive.
And
My
do
mom
you
is
have a?
actually going on
Oh,
tour
sorry.
with me next month, so
Oh,
that's gonna
really?
be fun.
Nice.
Oh, nice. As a tour manager.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's gonna try to be one,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, mostly just for fun. So that's
How,
kind of cool.
how did your parents react to it? As in, when you kind of got your first international gig, like how did they respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same as me. Like they were like, "Yo, this is super crazy," but yeah, super proud. And my mom actually, whenever I take my mom, I remember last year at ADE, she actually started crying when I was playing. I think it was at the
Wow.
Rye, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's crazy."
Yeah,
But yeah, she was just very proud, and yeah, my dad as well. And I always try to take them to gigs whenever I can.
yeah,
And yeah, it's amazing.
The Rai
yeah. I
show
can,
is a really big show.
Yeah,
very
that
That's
was
big.
crazy.
something else, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really crazy.
Here's a question for Ralph. You have worked with big EDM guys like Dimitri Vegas and like Mike, WW Hartel. I'm not going to mention the whole list. What do they all have
J
in
Hardway.
common?
Jay Hardway,
What do they all have in common that makes them so good in the studio?
vision. they know what they want to hear. And the most interesting times is when you both know what you want to hear, but it doesn't correspond with each other. That's when the real fireworks happen. Then it goes like, no, you should do this, you should do that, and it's actually just interesting. They're all, really convinced of themselves, but including me. Yeah.
Were we having that conversation, Jay, or I'm kind of
I
confused
think
right
with
now?
Mark we talked about this.
No, it
Oh.
hasn't been that long. Like we talked about, like if you want to become successful, there's also some sort of arrogance in it, as in you're so convinced of yourself, you're kind of naive,
Yeah,
and that helps you to get
you
to
need
get further.
a bit of delusional thinking
Yeah.
in your way to success. There needs to be realism, but also very much like I'm gonna be number one of the world.
Yeah,
Like
but
Yeah.
that's
did.
vision, right?
Yeah.
Take Elon Musk
Yeah,
and his
believing in
electrical car.
yourself.
Yeah, nobody believed him,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Is that
now
the
you see
same for you
ram
as
things
well,
everywhere.
Merow? Like were you thinking from the start of like I can do this, like no matter what I'll get there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the way to keep you like motivated, right? To just
True.
keep going and have this really big goal. But I feel like the way to that goal is way more important. But you definitely need that big goal in order to like keep going and have that motivation to to keep working hard. I feel like.
Yeah, it's one of the main things I see with artists who come to artist coaching is that staying motivated is the hardest part of building an artist career. You know, we've talked about the no's that might come along the way. It's very hard to keep believing in yourself if everybody against you, everybody around you is telling you like, nope, this sucks, this sounds shit, that isn't great. Like, yeah,
There are
it's
so many moments of doubt, but they will always
Yeah.
remain,
What is
no matter how
also
big you get.
what is also never
True.
really talked about is like there's hate and there's like love when someone has a hit. All of a sudden, everybody's their friend. You can see it on Instagram, like all the comments, like "Oh, well, I'm your friend." What is maybe even more hurtful is like indifference from people, and that's like
indifference.
yeah. So like for my career, I was like started with a big bang with Martin Garrix, and then everybody's also your friend. People comment on my posts and they talk to me a lot. But then after a while, and especially like right after COVID, you realize like you don't have that hype anymore. And then the people that don't comment anymore or don't aren't at all interested, it's like kind of hurts. They're kind of indifferent. But it's like you then have to realize that's just the way the world works, and you have to kind of um, work with the people that then still want to work with you. But I do feel that's a thing where I don't know what it is, but it's just good to be aware that if you get really successful and you see the big artists, they have all the friends in the world. Not all of them are their actual friends.
I was just saying, like,
um,
are they friends though? Like,
yeah, that's something to
Yeah.
be aware of. And I think for you, Meryl, how did you, or still maybe, how are you navigating that kind of? Are you at all worried about that, or are you like because you have a hype now? Does it feel like more people than that people come up to you that aren't really interested in your music or you as a person, but just want to like benefit? Let's say I don't know how to really phrase it, but
Yeah, I mean, especially last year, there was like people coming up to me that I already knew for a long time, and out of nowhere they wanted stuff from me.
oh
Where I was
really?
like, "That's interesting because I didn't talk to you for like a
Yeah.
few years or something like that." And then they like whenever I'm like, What do you want? Like, what's the? It's not like I can give you anything right now." And then they're like, "Oh, you're not being humble because
oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
you say stuff like that." And I'm like, I feel like I have not changed like in any way when it comes to that, but they keep changing actually because
Mm-hmm.
then they see
Yeah.
that they can like gain something from it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's kind of hard to to trust like people and make new friends and stuff like that. It's kind of a challenge, yeah.
Did you notice any changes within your inner circles, as in your good friends or family that started acting differently?
Yeah, actually, like I had a few friends that I don't really talk to anymore now because they just I don't know, they just kind of started acting different, and yeah, I was super confused by that because for me it felt like nothing really changed. I was just releasing music like always. Um, this time it was on stamped. I don't know what's the for me it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like, of course it's super sick and crazy, but for me as a person it didn't feel any like I changed or anything was different.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, for them, I don't know, it just started to act different, and then I was like, yeah, I'd rather have like a small group of people that I really really like trust and can talk to than
Yeah.
a lot of people that I don't really feel like I can trust like fully.
I
I
think
think
that's also
It's
one of the
shame.
reasons. I think that's also one of the reasons why artists or bigger artists like to spend time with other big artists, because they kind of get each other, right? They
yeah,
understand each other, and they talk to each other like human beings and not like looking up to each other.
that's true. Yeah.
But you like to Ralph starts
Hey,
laughing.
human being.
No, but you people tend to surround themselves with people that makes them feel comfortable, right? And as soon as you start to grow or outgrow somebody, they might start to feel insecure because they realize they stand still or are not at that level yet, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but they could start comparing themselves to you, like, oh shit, she's outgrowing me, which gives them a bad feeling. They just reflect it to you, which is weird, but understandable.
I actually had a funny discussion about this, or sort of, with my hairdresser because I got a haircut. Look, but we're from
Let's
the
go.
same hometown. My hairdresser and I, Jelle. His hairdresser thing is called Some. Just so you know, I'm not sponsored, but I like the guy. So if you're in Amsterdam, go get your.
Hey.
But
Like,
we're talking like about people that you know very well. Like for example, from my childhood, they kind of at first react differently, but then they realize, oh, you're still the same, so all good. But then there's people that like you kind of knew, and they are the ones that are acting weird. They all of a sudden act like they're, oh yeah, we know each other, right? We go
yeah,
way back, and then you're kind of
Yeah,
like the same of like, well, I still don't really know you, and then out of nowhere you're the arrogant artist. It's funny how that
exactly.
works with some people. But I guess the ones that it's a shame to hear about your friends, but I guess maybe they weren't. Yeah, it's for the better then. How maybe that
Yeah,
sounds harsh, but it's good to not focus on those people then anymore and focus on the ones that are really still close to you.
true.
definitely. Way better to have like a small group of people.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question, which is a bit more practical. From Die Geile aus Hamburg in the
The guy
community.
aus
Ah,
Hamburg.
He or she is back. I don't. It's a girl on the picture, but who knows?
Sounds like
Uh,
she.
exactly. Um, how do you find the right fader positions, volume levels for every sound in your mix down? Do you let the track play from the start to finish and adjust it by the feel, or how do you make it fit together but also give it that energy?
Question for all of us, or I guess so.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep. Whoever
Shall we do
feels
it
like
in
taking it.
simultaneously?
yeah.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is.
So it is randomized. The randomized setting. Haven't you heard of that?
I
What's
have
that?
somebody knocking here. I'm back in a sec.
I will go
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
For me, it's when I add a new sound, I listen to it and I add it in the mix, and then I just kind of twist the gain knob or whatever knob to adjust the volume and EQ and stuff and whatever until it's good. Then when I'm further in the project, you adjust according adding to new sounds, and then mostly listening on different sets of speakers, and then out of nowhere you hear like, oh, that hi-hat is really loud. It just needs to be toned back a little bit, and it's just by ear. And I wouldn't say I listen to the whole track, but I mean, in the car, I listen to the whole track, and then you're like, ooh, in that build up, that one snare is too loud, and then you change it back the day after or something. So yeah. kind of just by ear and as you go, I would
Yeah.
say.
By the feels, as she says. By
Yeah,
the feels of it.
exactly.
Okay. Is that the same for you, Merow?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. Like just whenever you would start a track, I feel like you're already mixing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And also like like you said, like you check it in the car on other devices or anything. And I always, whenever I'm in the car, I just go sit down and I go write down things that I think should be different in the mix.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you are actually looking at the project and hearing it, it's way different than when you just are not looking at any project, not seeing anything, just listening without any distractions or something.
Yeah.
So I
It's
feel like,
actually one of the tips that stood with me for a long time as well, that during the mixing and the mastering phase, you have to turn off the screen or close your eyes, whatever you
Yeah.
prefer. But taking out one of your senses, make sure that you even start listening better.
But
Um,
when you have to click the faders, turn on the screen again.
then
Yeah.
you have to, exactly.
that's
Exactly.
Or
must.
just do something without the screen on, and then
Yeah, like
Just go
click
like,
whatever you do.
click. I hope
Random.
this mix turns out great.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
but I don't know what's mentioned before, but the main reference is always the kick.
You start off with the kick on 0
Of
dB or
course,
something.
it's dance music. We need to protect those transients, man.
Protect those dancing feet. Yep, true.
Not dancing
Bass.
feet,
Do you
dude.
do your mixing and mastering yourself, Merow?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that something you like? Did it took you a long time to learn that, because it's pretty hard? As in, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm still learning every day.
You are.
I just, it's just something that you learn by doing it, I guess, and watching a lot of YouTube videos about mixing and stuff like that. What plugins to use. And don't overdo it, I guess.
Mhm.
And next to that, for me, the best way now to like check if something is really like the mix as well is also by playing it live, feeling the whole vibe of the track. So yeah, it's just a process, I guess.
And
Of
use references of
What I-
the tracks you really like, and the
Yeah.
ones that already proved themselves. It's always a little bit confronting when you have your own track, you put it next to one that you really like, and then see how it upholds itself. And sometimes it's just confronting, like, how could I miss this? Yeah.
Completely dissolves.
No, but your ears,
Yeah.
they deceive you, you know? You need
Yeah.
references continuously.
what I wonder, Merow, is did you do you have a studio at home, or do you work always in the stamped studios?
I mean, I'm like at Stamp maybe once a week, twice a week.
Okay.
And the other days I just work at home. I have Adam speakers at home, and I just work with my headphones a lot.
Mm.
I love working with headphones more at home, I feel like. And then go to the stand studios to check it on the bigger speakers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just also trying to have a reference for as many devices, speakers, and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, mostly just at home. Just on
Which
headphones.
headphones do you have at home?
Well, yeah, it's kind of a shame. I used to have the Bear Dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really like them, like the way they were like on my head. My ears started to hurt. They're pretty heavy, I feel like.
Yeah.
So now I got these JBL headphones, that are not like producer headphones at all. But I feel like when I'm mixing a new track or stuff like that, and then I go to the studio, it still sounds like the same as when I did it on headphones, and sounds good.
Yeah.
But when I did it on the other ones,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was mixing on the headphones, and then I went to the speakers. I was like, "Damn, this sounds shit."
Ah, okay.
So yeah,
You should clip this and send it to JBL and tell them
Yep.
to sponsor you,
Exactly.
because this is that's actually a huge thing, I think.
yeah,
I think
Because
so
I
too.
find it, for example, very hard to work on headphones, and for beginner producers, I would suggest getting somewhat of a good monitor, but like KRKs or something.
Yeah.
But I noticed for me a big difference as well every time when I went up to a better speaker, because you trained your ear more and you do hear way better. And with you train, so you hear better, and then with better speakers, you hear even better. So yeah, after a while, also upgrade. But it's good advice for the headphones. I'm gonna maybe
Yeah.
try them out at some point.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
just whatever works, and also comes to show that you
exactly.
don't need a full fancy studio. You just need to know your situation. And but then again, I have to say, how do you how could you get to know your situation? Also there, yeah, using the references. I
Yep.
mean,
Mhm.
yeah, how does X sound in this on this reference, and how does my track sound? There's no
True.
other way. But yeah, whatever works works.
For sure. Yeah.
Question from Melodramatic. How often do you change your track before you decide it's good? How many versions do you, on average, make before you settling on the final choice? Like, is that version 25.1 or like, how does that work?
It's quite a lot.
Yeah?
It's always, but I feel like the last versions are either super different, or it's just like you put your hi-hat like 1 dB up,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I feel like it's always just endless, especially when labels like, oh, this track is nice like this, can you send the masters? Then I don't know what happens, but every time I start exporting, I just keep hearing shit.
Mm,
Like it
you
just
keep
keeps
changing.
going.
Yeah.
But
And how
it's really
It's a
small
never-ending
things.
story.
Yeah.
how do you decide on when a track is finished? Like, is there a certain method that you have for it or a certain benchmark?
Yeah, I guess listening on like in the car and stuff like that, and if I feel that that it's like still interesting when I'm listening to it in the car, when I'm playing it, and I'm excited about it, and also send it out to other people for feedback and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once I've done that and I'm excited about something, yeah, then I'm like, okay, just leave it like this. Stop um, messing with frequencies that are no one is hearing,
Yeah.
because it's okay like this. I guess you need
Yeah.
a point where you're like, okay, it's finished.
And do you decide on that yourself, or do you use like maybe your manager or something to cut the cord and say, now it has to go?
I mean, I feel like I'm the one that has to be okay with it. Otherwise, I'm gonna, I don't know, be annoyed or something. But yeah, once I'm okay with something, then I send it over to my manager or to the label. And yeah, if they then have feedback, then I'll just change it. If not, then it's perfect.
It's actually
Okay.
funny that the tracks of ours that performed best are the ones that I always go back to and then revisit and think, shit, I should have done this differently, or shit, I should have done that differently. And the weird thing is, with the ones that don't perform, it's just out of eye, out of sight, and it's just done. But every track can just serve different purposes and will never be done at some point. Sometimes that edit is just misplaced, or the pre-drop is just off, and but it's actually the best tracks, and yet at some point you just have to like, okay, this is it, let it fly. And but it's always, you're always going to hear something that you think of, like, or you're going to doubt yourself, is this the right choice? And yeah, you never know. But yeah, you have to choose at some point.
Yeah, you have to make a
Yeah.
decision somewhere.
Whenever that
There's,
irritating A&R will be like, "Are the master's done yet? Yeah,
there's a
make your
really
own
good
fucking
tip
master."
From Chris Lake.
Yeah.
I can call him Chris.
Yeah, it's your main
Chrissy.
man.
I always come crack.
Crip, bro.
Hey, yo, Chris. No, but he had there's some reel going around of him or someone that told him whatever, and he says like, imagine you have to play the track. You have a gig in 1 hour, and you have to finish the track you're working on because you have to play it, and that can help also simplify stuff and have you make choices that otherwise you would linger on or think, yeah, but should I use that snare instead of just, hey, I'm just gonna pick that snare. So that's,
Actually,
yeah.
also when you're looking at the set, we do it quite a lot here, and that actually helps you like finishing up a track, defining which track you play in front and which track you play after. I mean, for everyone's set that will be different, but that also defines how much like melody do I play in the outro. none, let's say only the keynote, no key, or whatsoever. That's really defining of how you make your transitions, and actually helps you really how you will finish your track.
Yeah.
So yeah, good point, crap.
And I think also
Smart.
Crit.
Yeah, I know, but it is a good tip.
I'm
Yeah.
Chris. Friends call me Crit.
Quick,
But I do think also if you have a good A&R team, it's also and it's hard sometimes if you have a big producer ego, but also listen to your A&R team when they say cut out those 8 bars, because sometimes you're like, yeah, but that's the best part. Sometimes you really gotta trust in those people that you work with, because I don't know. I think from Ralph, I know. For myself, I know. But Meryl, are you also very stubborn when it comes to your tracks?
Um,
decisions.
yeah, it depends on what's in the track. Like, if it's like, oh, you need to make it less aggressive bass house, make it more groovy or stuff like that, then I'm like, nah, why? I
Yeah.
love it
Yeah,
like this. But yeah, I feel like that's what I also want to ask you guys. How do you deal with feedback, and when do you know when to take feedback and when to not take it from people? Because that's for me that's really a struggle. Like, yeah, what feedback should I really listen to or
Yeah.
actually take?
Especially when it
Um,
comes from A&Rs and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, sometimes it's good to listen to the A&R. But man, it's a really good question because I have
yeah.
no like solid answer. Yeah, sometimes um, when you and I have no answer. I
I
actually
think
don't know.
I think what could
it's
be
hard.
helpful is to trying to make a difference between trying to catch a difference between when something is feedback and when something is their personal opinion.
Yeah,
As in, sometimes people tend to give them their personal opinion or what they prefer, and you can recognize it by sentences as in "I would like to change that" or "I would have done this," like "I would have done this." And when it's feedback, it's more like, "Hey, it could be better if you change this because blah blah blah." Like it's sometimes in the little things of how people
It more
communicate.
depends, yeah, what kind of feedback it is.
I think
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
good A&R will never talk too much about the production style or the sounds. They will talk more
yeah,
about a certain feel or a certain arrangement.
yeah,
And I think there I always am. I deliver my version, and then I'm like, okay, if you want to change the build up or change those 15 bars, I'm like, yeah, whatever. You probably know what works best for the consumer. And I do think the moment someone gives me feedback, I kind of feel, if I feel like some resistance, they're probably right. So
Hmm.
then I'm like, yeah, I know I should have. There should be more in there, or
yeah,
so it's kind of like also listening to your own. Yeah, it is. I also don't really have an answer because it is. You have to judge on the when it happens, and sometimes you just right away feel, you know what, they're right, and sometimes you feel no, they're not right, and I need to stand for this. But then you need to think, how important for me is it that that part of the song
Yeah.
survives or
Mhm.
yeah,
something? And sometimes it's just you realize it's just not that important if that extra 8 bars or that top melody. Sometimes it's just
Yeah. We
yeah,
sometimes had a release when the label had to pay singers and songwriters, and the investment was a little bit higher than the normal track. Then I tend to listen a little bit more to the A&R, so that if something goes wrong, when you hold your foot down, you get more responsibility,
yeah,
and that's also not something you want to go to bed with all the time. So then I'm like, and also if it's arrangement wise, like they probably know when something will stream a little bit better. But if it goes like, if it's the club vision, that's mine,
yeah,
and
agreed.
Marlon's, by the way.
No, not Marlon, man, just
No,
Ralph.
No, but
you're on stage as well, Ralph.
Marlon's
Like
like, this
own it,
doesn't work at
own it.
all. You're like, I don't care.
no, but that's an important part. So when do you listen to them? Yeah, there's multiple factors in there, and yeah, you don't want to be that guy or girl that has all the responsibility, because when you put your foot down, you have to stand for it and take it along. And when it just bombs, which is the most probable outcome because most tracks don't do well, to be honest. But everybody will forget anyway that we discussed it earlier.
Yeah, I in the end I think, and this is something that comes from working with people longer. But if you trust the people you work with, you trust their judgment, and then so if they say to change something, you really know they won't say it lightly. And I think
But
that,
it's also really
yeah.
subjective, so that's
Yeah.
that's why it's always hard. What I did at some points when I was really convinced of myself, I just put after it not V14 anymore, but it became V17A. Fuck it. Then send it back, send an email. It was exactly the same version. Hey man, your tips were really, it flows way better. And I didn't change shit. And they were, yeah, this and that got released. So you
But
can
Really?
just, yeah.
Oh wow.
that works, but also sometimes you make a version where like I could do more on the transitions and I could add a little layer here and there. And I sometimes also, when sending versions, I would be like, no, I'm not gonna do that yet. And then they'll probably say, yeah, it's almost done. We'll hear the final soon, and then you can add that stuff. So you kind of send them like, while knowing you're gonna make V3, you send them V2, for example. But
Yeah.
the best is if you can trust the people that you work with and trust their judgment, and just yeah.
I hope this 6-minute explaining helps you.
Perfect.
It's a good question.
Still yet,
Yeah.
guys.
It's a very
Yeah,
good
that is
question.
interesting though.
Yeah,
Probably
true.
Kre would have a good answer
Exactly.
to it.
Yeah.
We should get Kre in the podcast.
Oh,
just
man, we
reach
should.
out
He
to
would
him.
love
Amazing.
that.
Yeah.
He would love
Hey,
that. I know.
we're
him personally.
already over 1 hour, so we're gonna build towards the end. We have to finish one thing which we asked last week, which is should we keep the jingle of Sansonic in? And we did a poll in the Discord, and unfortunately, the response wasn't that good. So I just got the results. It's a nay. It's a no.
I wasn't here last week, so
No.
Oh yeah. Well,
We
somebody.
really appreciate the effort.
Yeah, Sansonic made a jingle for us because we asked. So, and unfortunately, the community voted no. So that's a hard no to deal with. But for anyone listening right now, if you think you can do better, make that jingle for us. Send it in, and maybe we'll use it for the future.
if you
know?
nail,
Like,
it's one of the hardest.
Yeah.
That's not for me. It's one of
it's
the
very
hardest ones
and
to do.
I
If you
kind
nail
of put
this,
the bar high, right? Like
Yeah,
with
you
community
put the bar
questions.
way too high, bro.
you have all these
Like,
producers listening, judging you. Man, that's
Yeah,
the hardest
it's
crowd.
tough.
I mean, the
True.
normal crowd doesn't know about mixing and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
And
Hey
now
guys,
we
is
go
it
to
time to
the.
chill?
It's
Can I-
shameless plug time. So
I
let's.
have a track. I have a track coming out this Friday. It's called This Feeling, and you can pre-save it. That would help a lot. But also,
It's a
if you just listen
self-release,
to
right?
it, it's a self-release. We've
Nice.
managed a whole
Nice.
hour without joking about self-releases.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's I
Fire.
think J Hardware fans will love it. New fans will love it. So yeah, that just go
Bass
and check
Checkers
that out.
fans will love it. Merow fans will love it.
Everybody will love it.
Yeah.
Joey Suki
I'm
fans are
also-
too old.
Yeah.
They're
I'm
all
curious
done.
about the new Merow music as well. Is there something that we should wait for, or a certain ultra set where you expect something? Maybe I think you've already said, but
Yeah. I mean, I sent some new IDs to GARRIX, of course. To Seth. He's also playing main stage.
nice.
So yeah, who knows? Maybe they're gonna play a new bass house ID.
So you'll be
Cool.
just
Who
watching
knows?
his set and just like twisting your
Exciting.
fingers, like please play it, please play it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Ralph
yeah,
can call him Zet.
yeah.
No.
That's how close
Z-Dog.
he's with Zet.
Anyway, do you have something to share, Ralph?
No. It's Merrow's time this week, so nothing
Okay.
to shill. I'll do my part next week.
Cool. Anything you want to leave us with, Merow? Any genius thoughts, shameless plugs, anything you want?
I mean, I recently released a track called Fading Lights. If you want to check it out, let me know what you think. I'm really curious. It's the first time I did like a bass house track with some more melodic
Hello.
features as well. So yeah, and thank you guys for having me. I had a really fun time talking
Yeah, no
about
worries. My
anything.
Thanks for coming on.
my connection cut off for a few seconds, so I'm not sure if something went wrong, but I guess we're still here.
It went all right,
it went
man.
great.
Perfect. Anyway, thank you, Merow, for taking the time to do this and for being here with us and share your story. Really appreciate it. And
Thank
for
you.
everyone tuning in and in the live stream, thank you for being here. Thank you for our very first donations, everyone.
Dude,
We appreciate
Let's
it.
go.
And
leave a comment, share the
exactly.
podcast, go to the park,
We
walk
from
your
that
dog.
donation, we will get some new plop caps.
Hey, they're in. I've got them.
Yeah,
Oh,
finally,
really?
send them over, dude.
I've got
Send
them.
them over,
I
dude.
just put them into the studio. So next time we're there, they're yours. You can take them.
Subscribe, everybody.
Subscribe to our
Subscribe,
channel.
leave a
Don't
comment.
forget to comment.
Go
do
follow
all the
Merow
things.
if you don't already.
Follow Merow. Anything else?
Go follow
That's
Jay
about it.
Hardway.
See you guys next week. Bye bye.